what? Real talk, real dads. Life hits hard, but we bounce right back. We grow, we learn, we laugh on the track. Dad, and then what? Yeah, we got your back.
So let's dive into today's topic, so to say, which would be the dad body. Is it a pride or a problem?
Well, Daniel, what do you think? I mean, dad body is like kind of a, I would say, misused word in some interpretations, and in other situations it can be actually a comfortable, warming and safe word.
Absolutely, can definitely be both, and I think it's pretty stereotypical way of describing a man's body, especially when some time has passed during the fatherhood as well. And for my own image, it has been pretty much been just a word. Always that I have always known what it means, and I had this certain image in my head about a man, having a little bit belly, getting a little bit chubbier with the kids and everything. But to my own experience, I never got to that point that I would actually get very chubby, so to say. I could definitely see some changes in my body as well when I became a father. But that was mostly because I didn't sleep so well and I was so focused on other things. Of course, taking care of the baby and my family and work on the side and everything. So
Right.
I didn't have so much time necessarily to exercise. And for me, I could see it as a muscle loss mostly.
Right.
And I have always had this certain image of myself that what would be my ideal body type, so to say, and I have always tried to aim to maintain that as much as I can. So when I noticed these first changes, I wouldn't necessarily say that it was a shock, but it was a change in my body that I have to really think about that how I'm feeling about it.
More or
as
less
well.
like a size different, not
Exactly.
necessarily what we call a common picture of a dad body.
Exactly, but it was a nice thing to think about. And now, after my kid has been a little bit older, I feel like I have had much more time to focus on that side as well.
What's your fight weight at the moment?
Sorry,
What's your weight at the moment?
75 kilos. So
75.
pretty lightweight at the end of the day, but I'm happy about it. I'm not so tall guy. I'm a little bit under 180 centimeters tall, so I think that's all right.
Yeah. You just made it past dwarf.
Exactly. Exactly. But what about your own experiences? Of course, there must have been some changes happening.
Well, sure. I mean, one thing is when you look at like the growing up teen years, you had like your dad. In my case, I also had a stepdad because my mom, she was like breaking up with my dad and taking a new husband, and he was much more of what I would call a dad buddy than my own dad. Otherwise, people probably have uncles or other relatives that maybe even friends' dads, that would fit that label if you say so.
Yes.
But my own experience is like it was kind of reversed. I was coming from before I was having my first kid from around 100 kilo.
Okay.
I'm 187 tall, so it was a bit round faces and a little bit belly and stuff like that.
Like a buff guy.
A really buff guy, big muscle and a lot of muscle fat, like that. But after I got kids, I went into so much of self-realization of things that in my lifestyle, both health habits and time management would have to change because of that. So I dedicated myself to be clean for around 9 months with everything, nicotine, alcohol, bad eating habits, all this shit. And I went down to around 78 kilo with probably the most muscle I had in my whole life, even though I before have trained a lot. And then I've been maintaining that level around, from 80 to 84 kilo, something like that, since then.
But that's amazing progress. So I gotta give a small applause for that.
Thank you.
Definitely. It's not an easy thing to do,
Absolutely
especially
not.
within 9 months.
I was in the zone, man, and I kind of locked it in those 9 months,
Yeah.
and I must be honest to say that I haven't been able to keep it completely up, other than smaller periods like months or weeks. But it's like you say, if you have a goal and if you have the proper motivation, I would
Yes.
say, then you can lock it in really and go for it, and then it makes it a whole lot easier when you have the motivation that's your kid and your family, and you want to do the best for them.
Exactly. And especially when these are the type of habits that you're most likely to pass on for your kids as well. So this was something that I had to think about myself also, that
Agreed.
if I'm able to show a proper example
Yes.
and show them like how to take care of the body when thinking about your eating habits, your exercise habits, etc., it's all reflecting on people around you as well, especially
Yes.
for the kids.
So much truth in the saying that be the one you want them to be by being
Yeah.
the role model. Yes.
Yeah, and this is
Agreed.
like a very clear example of that, because you can see it in your daily life always.
True that.
Yeah.
Every morning in the mirror.
Exactly, and you can either be happy about it or thinking about why is it like this.
But why do you think that the dad bod, like it's always been around? I remember it like from our early teens. It's been like this, both taboo and also this, like we talked about, safety corner for some women.
Yeah.
Where did it start? Why did it become like the dad bod talk in the first place?
I'm not actually 100% sure about that, because for me it has been not a taboo, but I feel terrible to say if I say like it has been like a joke for me always to joke about that. Like, there's some guy, with the dad body looking a little bit chubby and, not so fit. But I think, it comes from the real changes that are happening in father's life, because like we talked about previously, it comes to your time management. You're so focused on taking care of your family and work, etc., that you don't necessarily focus so much on the eating and exercising side.
There's lack of sleep, lack of time management, lack of seeing anybody that
Yeah.
make your social, what do you call it, barometer, or like a social level fulfilled. So
Yeah.
you have a lack of a lot of things that probably could have an effect on both health and sleep and eating patterns. Yes.
Exactly, and it always also depends so much like what kind of a person you are. Because for me also, I have noticed that if I'm sleep deprived and tired, I have cravings like crazy. I don't like to eat candy, for example, or stuff like that. But when it comes to like good food, pastries, etc., I'm very prone to those things if I'm feeling hungry and I just need to eat something good, so to say.
And that's a wheel that's so hard to get caught in, right?
Yeah.
Because if you eat it one day, the next day, probably around the same time or after the same exercise you did or after the same eating, you feel the same again.
Yeah.
It's so fucking annoying,
Yeah, and you get a small like piece of gratitude when
Yes.
you eat something good. You think
Yes.
like, oh, I definitely deserve this.
Oh, yeah. Oh, my God. That is the worst.
Yeah, but as we have seen, like it very easily adds up, so to say. And if it becomes a habit, then it makes you more prone to the dad body
Agree.
itself.
Agree.
Yeah.
And we are also ending up very quickly, I would say, in a hamster wheel, if you can say so, where you try to prioritize your kid or even your family over your own time.
Yes.
But in some cases, I think, of course, that is healthy and very important. But in other cases, it can go so wild, as it has for me for sometimes, that I forget that the tasks at hand at a normal day for me could include the kid in a whole different way, that I set all that aside.
Yeah.
And then I start to, make my day from their needs instead of like including them in my day and still fulfilling their needs.
Yeah, and that's very understandable. Of course, we are trying to make sure that the little ones and the rest of the family is feeling safe, and they feel like they get the attention that they
Agreed.
need.
Agreed.
But of course, like on the side, there are some hormonal changes happening at the same time, because when you're spending a lot of time with your wife and woman, and they're giving birth, and you get your kids, your body doesn't make so much testosterone
Exactly.
during that time for a certain time period. And unfortunately, I cannot say how long time period it is, but that makes some physical changes, definitely.
What we should do as a funny thing is that we should go and test our testosterone. And we
Definitely.
should absolutely go out with the result for all of you listeners to see. And we would love to receive all your results if you want to do the same or already did it. That could be super cool to watch. Where are you in the dad? How many years are your kids? When was your last kid born? And where is your testosterone level?
Absolutely. And if you're able to do a second test, for example, when you're getting kids,
Right.
and then compare how it actually changes compared to some while after being a parent already.
Agreed.
That would be so nice, actually. And
very interesting data because you can read a lot like on data that's already taken. But if we could kind of collaborate with all your listeners, all the dads out there,
yes,
maybe also with eating habits, sleep patterns, and these kind of things, just in general, we would be able to take some data that we could share with you guys, and that would actually be very valuable.
yeah, that would be so cool. And now that I think about it, it's been a very long time since I did a proper blood test and actually tested out my testosterone, because before I always had a scheduled blood testing. I would say that at least once a year,
Yeah.
I did almost a full spectrum of everything that is going on, so I could see if I'm deficient on some vitamins or if I'm lacking testosterone, etc.
exactly.
Because even though I'm decently young guy, so to say, I'm only 25 years old, but I still care about my health a lot. So these are the parameters that will tell if something is more likely to happen in the future.
You know what? Before we do the next episode, we should do and go get our blood tested, both of us.
Absolutely, and that would be definitely some interesting thing to talk about on the next
Exactly.
episode. That what was going on during this time.
Exactly.
Yes, sir. So I'm looking forward to that one.
Me too, man.
Yes.
So, dear listeners, we have been taking a lot of messages and a lot of fun about your stories and about what we can better in this podcast.
So as we were talking about the changes on the body and what is the dad body in general as a term, of course it would be nice to talk about more on the physical side and maybe the physical challenges regarding the changes that are happening during this time. And we were talking about the fatigue and tiredness that might be occurring, especially when our kids are born, and they are newborns, and we pretty much lack time.
Oh my God, did you feel like, your kid is now big enough? How many kilos is he?
Oh, he's almost 11 kilos now, so it has changed a lot in the past couple of months.
Absolutely.
And I can definitely feel it, when I'm holding my kid, I'm playing with him.
That's what I thought. Oh my God, that's the worst. Because this is going to continue. This is not going to stop. I mean, my 6-year-old, he wants to be picked up as much as my 4-year-old and as much as my 2-year-old.
Yeah.
And I can definitely feel a difference from picking up a 22 kilo or picking up a 15 kilo or picking up a 10 kilo. It's like, oh my God, the back pain or back struggles it can give just to holding one side, because you're dad.
Yeah.
You're strong. You want to be the lion of the family, right?
Exactly. You're the solid rock.
Yeah. And you just keep on going too long sometimes. You have to admit that. And it's not a problem in the situation, but when you sleep on it and you have a little tight left side and you're lying wrong all night and you're waking up in the morning and oh, it's locked. Everything is locked,
Exactly. So I definitely gotta praise the mom as well, because they're not so physical or so strong necessarily as I am, but when I see them, playing with our kid at least as much as I do, without showing any like clear struggle, it's amazing thing to see.
Hallelujah for massage.
Definitely. And I think the massage has helped so much, like when we're thinking about the recovery and keeping body in a good shape.
Agreed.
Yeah. But what about some other like practical things that you have been doing to make sure that your body is in a good shape?
Well, back to some of the previous episodes where we talked about this baby festival.
Yeah.
That was one of the best buys I actually bought at that festival was like a seating device.
Yeah.
You know, the one you click on the back.
Yeah, like a harness.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And even though you don't have to, string it all around your neck and get them all settled in, it's also working if you just click it around your waist.
Yes.
And then you have the seating pattern because it's just, pushing down on your hip and your leg.
Yeah.
And that taking most of the weight. So you can like turn them around and just have them sitting with your arm around them. And then it's like, they can see the whole world. There's no problem. And then, of course, the good old sit on the shoulder instead of holding on the chest or in the back.
Yes, and I
That can be
100%
very releasing.
Yeah, and I 100% agree on that one. I bought probably exactly the same harness thing, and when I'm having the kid like in front of me, like sitting in a good position, and I have the harness on, so my back doesn't crouch always when I'm trying to hold him and everything. Oh my God, it has been such a relief.
Absolutely.
Especially if I need to go down and pick something up when holding my kid as well.
Agreed.
Yeah, so I would definitely recommend getting one of those.
True that.
To everyone.
But I also think like, with the whole dad body talk, it can have many strings, many relations, many roads, because if you see on a guy that's coming from single with his girlfriend going to be a dad, it can take so many directions.
Yes.
And the direction is easy to go like when you have cleared out the first, let's say 6 months, the baby is more capable of walking, taking care. The mom is more capable. Maybe the grandparents take more care and you get your kind of life back.
Yes.
There is a certain need for both the mom and the dad to go and get the social relations back.
Absolutely.
And if you look at it that way, and probably sometimes there will be in, I don't know, 50%, I would guess, of the cases where you maybe are not in the same place anymore as you was before. Everything was pink. You were two. She was getting bigger and bigger. You were having your little wonder.
Yeah.
And in 50% of the cases, you were more or less ready for it. In 50%, you were maybe not. And if you are in the latter, then you also have a need to go out, maybe drink some more beers and, these kind of unhealthy habits.
Yeah, loosen up a little bit.
Loosen up a little bit, exactly. And there's no bad in that. But that could also, I think, contribute to, like we talked about before, the wheel that is going like, last week was fun.
Yeah.
So we got to do it this week again. And then you suddenly go from being 100% dedicated to family time and your baby and everything to, on a weekly basis or on a daily basis even, going to drink alcohol or going to eat, maybe not the most healthy kind of food.
Yes.
And that could also contribute to that you got a little gain on the weight and a little less gym time, and because this was important for yourself to get out there and be socialized.
Exactly, it spirals up in the habit very quickly, and of course we're gonna understand that because that has been something that we were missing for so long time, that we would like to loosen up like we talk, and sometimes we can get too caught up in the fun time when
Exactly.
thinking about that. So that's something that we definitely need to be cautious cautious about.
And that's also a spiral that I think many people end up in, where they go out and they feel suddenly alive again in a different way because
Yeah.
they come from this isolated, very fun new project family, and out to socializing again and finding out that there's a whole world out there still, and everything moves on, and you have to be somewhat part of it. But I think that wheel can really spin off in a bad way, because you can also suddenly end up feeling obligated to be back and obligated to your work again, your friends,
Yeah.
you know.
Exactly, exactly, and that's very interesting thing to talk about. And of course, on the side of that, like when we were talking about having fun and doing these things, of course, on the other side of the coin, we can think about that if some men, for example, dads are experiencing difficulties at the home with the kid, etc., they might feel the need to relieve
Absolutely.
themselves, and then feel like to.
Hallelujah, I did, man.
Yeah. Yeah, yeah, but it can very much like be both things when we are thinking about loosening up and
Agreed.
winding up.
And if everybody out there sitting and have relatable stories, or some kind of pin corner situation, or a situation where they just feel like they might have some of this dad guilt over feeling that they want to prioritize some time out,
Yeah.
please tell us your stories or give us your situations. We will be happy to. Like, again, we are not professionals at all. We are just real dads that's talking like real stories from real life.
Yeah, from our own points of view.
But we would love to reflect on it.
Absolutely.
Other than that, the pressure can really get to you as a dad, because you want to be the perfect role model. You want to be the perfect dad. You want to be the perfect partner. You want to be the perfect in everything. And very quickly, I would say, if you are not already Mr. Perfect, then you realize that that's not going to happen.
Exactly. Even though as much as we would like it to, be something real, at the end of the day, it's a big illusion because no one is perfect. Everyone has their own faults. And this is, again, one of the topics that that we rarely talk about, especially regarding the body image and habits behind it. So this, once again, has been very good conversation, and we would be more than happy to hear from you guys listening to this podcast that what have been your own experiences regarding it, if you guys have some practical tips or things to consider.
So, Daniel, if you should be the one that gave me some practical tips for upcoming dadship, or just after being a dad, to maintain, first of all, that I don't went into a dad bod that I didn't want to.
Yeah.
But second of all, also maintained my structure and my routines and didn't lose everything, what would that be?
Like you were talking previously, you pretty much said the key word already, which is structure. So it's very important to try to schedule your upcoming days. Think about like when you would have time to exercise, when you would have time to even do some meal preparation for the upcoming days. So you make sure that you eat proper food, you get some exercise in, but still you don't neglect your family time and especially the time with your kids. And I think that would be the best tip from my point of view.
Absolutely. And I agree. I would say there is a whole lot of different variation to it, but if you're coming from a very structured every day, I would say sit down, line up everything you do. Many people game. Many people have a lot of social relations.
Yes.
Many people have late work days or something like this. Where you can cut down is somewhat on the social relations, because your social relations needs to be built with a baby.
Yes.
And with a little kid in general. So get used to that very quick. Don't cut down on your good habits. Don't cut down on your training. Don't go on compromise with your health habits, eating, and all these things. But like you say, prepare it a little bit better. Prepare for the worst. So if you can make like 3 meals for the week on a Sunday, or meals for the whole week on a Sunday,
that would be even better.
That would be even better.
Yes. And one thing to add on this, I would say try to focus on consistency over intensity. That you don't always need to push 3 hour workouts and you push yourself to the limits, avoid everything good to eat whatsoever. Just make sure that you consistently get some exercise in, you consistently eat appropriate meals, so to say, and that always wins the intensity.
And guys, no matter what, if you just become a dad or a parent, remember that it's not always your 100%. And it doesn't matter. As long as when you are on your 100%, you're completely aware and present. But if you are not, then you just need to realize it yourself and be 100% okay with it. Because if you try to be 100% at a point where you have 10% energy left, you will always come out failing.
Yes. Yes.
Kids, they are absorbing everything like a sponge, and they know when you're not in a good mood. They know when you're in a good mood or a good place or a bad place.
Exactly. And these are the moments when we actually show the effort that we're able to push in towards them, even when we are pushing at like 10% of the total energy.
Completely agree. If you show up, show up. If you try to show up but really don't want to show up, better not to show up.
Yeah, they will notice it.
Absolutely. All right, guys, this was it for today's episode of Dad and Then What? I am so happy here to be back with Daniel and talking to you guys about being a dad. I don't know if you have any last word to say about our next episode.
Well, once again, it has been a pleasure having this session once again after a while, and I'm already looking towards our next session. And to give a small sneak peek, on the next episode, we're talking about the family traditions.
Oh, that's interesting.
Yes, whether we should pass them down for our kids as we were experiencing them previously, or if we perhaps should start something new with them.
Right, all right. That's a very interesting discussion, and I'm probably sure that you guys have a lot to say and a take on that. Please don't hesitate and write us, and we will be back in the next episode with traditions.
Absolutely. So once again, thank you guys. Have a good night.
Have a good night.
What? The podcast.